Wednesday show. Wednesday show. Oh, so you hit start broadcast, right? And then I always forget every time. I always forget that after you hit start broadcast, then there's another button that pops up. Go live? Question mark. And I was just talking to myself for like 30 seconds. I was saying Wednesday show, Wednesday show. Hello everybody, and I was doing my usual what I do, and then I was like, oh, the reason no one's answering me is because I'm just sitting here by myself talking to myself, which is not uncommon. That is just my everyday life, sitting here in my condo. Yeah, hello everybody. Hello. How's everyone doing today? Is everyone doing well? I forgot to turn the volume up on my phone. Oh, what a world. What a world. There we go. And it's now turned back off. So we're going to be continuing our discussion, our talk, our conversational skills about the one and only, not one and only, there's multiple Disney attractions that are now extinct. Because we did it the first week of July and people liked it. And then they said, we want to be back. So we said, okay, we're going to do a second week. And then, howdy. And then the other day I had someone else who talked to me and they said, hey, maybe you should just do the whole month. And I said, that's a great idea because I do talk, I enjoy talking about extinct Disney attractions. So we are not just doing this week, but we are also doing next week as well. Will be our conclusion of this month-long series of talking about different Disney extinct attractions. So far, we've talked about a lot of different extinct Disney attractions, and we have a lot more that are still on our well, this is the outside of the book, but on the inside of our book, we have a lot more that we have not even touched on yet. So tonight we're going to be going through and we're going to be talking more about some of these attractions. And yeah, there's a few in here that I feel like if someone says 1 and 2 of these numbers, game over. We're going to be talking about that the rest of the night here. But before we get started, hopefully everyone out there is doing good. Hopefully everyone's having a great evening right now. We talked about that one. We've not talked about this one. Or this. Oh, that's going to be a long one if we talk about that one. That's a good one. We talked about that one last week. We've not talked about that one. We've not talked about that one. We've not talked about this one. Oh, that's a good one too. That's not a good one. Yeah, so we've got a lot. We still have a lot. We've got 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 different ones that we have so far. But then, of course, we're going to be going to you guys in the comments as well to go through. Hola, super duper. How are you? I am very good. I am. It's been a long week. So my friend came last. Okay, so let's talk here before we get into the show here. So my friend came last week, and next month we're going to be attempting our craziest crazy challenge we've ever attempted. And when I say that this thing is consuming my brain at pretty much all points of the day, I'm not exaggerating at all. Like I am thinking about this challenge constantly throughout the day, to the point where I've got things going down almost to the second of this is what we have to do. Like we have to specifically like at like 11:41 a.m. like this is what we have to be doing at 11:41 a.m. because if we're not doing that, we're going to mess up this whole challenge. So it's going to be our craziest crazy challenge of all time. We're going to be filming it on August 18th. So just a little less than a month from now. In reality, 29 days from now. So 4 weeks from tomorrow, we're going to be attempting our craziest crazy challenge. I cannot stress how excited I am about this challenge. Hey, actually, Alex and I met up yesterday, and I was going through all the details, and the amount of details and the amount of things that we're putting into this challenge is kind of crazy. It is going to be, without a doubt, our most expensive crazy challenge we've ever done. I think the most we've ever spent on a crazy challenge before this was maybe like $50. And this this budget, which is like not a budget, this is like me slowly going broke, is far beyond $50. Like far, far, far beyond $50. But it's going to be worth it. It is going to be totally, well, if we pull it off, it's going to be, actually, no matter what, it's going to be a great challenge to even just attempt. And I'm extremely excited to attempt it. And I cannot wait to, one, share it with everyone. I'm going to be making a grand reveal possibly the night before. So 4 weeks from tonight, we'll probably talk about it on the Wednesday show. My big fear is someone else is going to hear this idea and they're going to say, oh, I'm going to film that first. And they're going to go film it first. And then I'm going to be like, why did I say this to the world? So, yeah. But anyways, that's besides the point. Let's get this party started. We're going to start the 674th. Is the No Way Jose from the takeout window the same size? And sometimes it's bigger. It's just as good, though. It's literally, it's the same. It's the exact same tubs of ice cream. Like they are literally making the ice cream from the same exact spot, like the same fountain as they make it if you're eating inside. So absolutely zero difference between the ice cream, and sometimes they make it a little bit bigger. Lauren, all you've missed is I announced the end of the Wednesday show. This is the last episode. So just kidding. Please stay around. I am just joking. All right, let's get this party started. We're going to start the 674th episode of the Wednesday show in 5, 4, 3, 2. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the 674th episode of the Wednesday show. Today is July 20th, 2022, and I'm your host, as always, Brent Dodge. Hello. Today we're going to be continuing our talk about the best, or not the best, but we're going to be talking about the greatest Disney extinct attractions of all time. We're going to be going back to you guys. You guys are the ones who've been pitching the attractions to talk about every single week here. So while I sit here and gab away, start throwing some of your favorite extinct attractions into the comments below. And if we have not talked about those specific attractions yet over the last 2 weeks, they will be added to our list, and then we're randomly having it so you guys choose numbers to figure out what we're going to be talking about. But before we get to that, let's talk about our news for the week. Thank you, everyone who's been joining us for our Saturday in the Park. If you didn't already know, every single Saturday right here on the From Screen to Theme Facebook page, we do a live broadcast from someplace found throughout the Walt Disney World Resort. You never know where we're going to be broadcasting from. In fact, I don't even know where we're broadcasting from because I have no idea which park reservation I have for Saturday. But make sure you join us every single Saturday at 1 o'clock Eastern Time. We always have a lot of fun coming to you guys live from the parks. Also, if you have not already done so, tonight's show is sponsored by, wait a minute, let's get the, it's all about the mouse travel bling. I don't know how the bouncing ball thing became a thing, but I really enjoy it. Make sure you contact our friends over at it'sallaboutthemousetravel.com for all of your Disney travel needs. All of their services are absolutely positively 100% free. So make sure you book with them for your next Disney vacation. Or while you're here, Judy's also in the chat room right now there as well. So send her a message over on the send her a message and let her know that you're coming here from the Wednesday show. Where do you keep getting the bouncy balls? That's an extinct attraction. We'll talk about that. And what was there was another announcement I was going to do, and now I'm drawing a blank on what it was. By the way, all their services are absolutely positively 100% free. So make sure you book them for your next Disney vacation. Also, side note, I had someone who asked me about a month or two ago. They said the 100%. Is that their tagline? I was like, no, I just say that. But it is free. All their services are free, but the absolutely positively 100% free was just a little Brent Dodge ridiculousness that I threw on there. But make sure you book with them for your next Disney vacation. Also, the last announcement is this Saturday we will be having a Saturday in the Park. The next Saturday, however, we will not. I will be traveling up to Wisconsin to see my family next week. We are still going to have our Wednesday show when I am up in Wisconsin. However, Saturday in the Park, unless we went to like a playground park, it's not the same. So we will not be having a Saturday in the Park. Not this week we'll have it. Next week we will not. So just a heads up about that as well. Okay, so you guys have some stuff coming into the comments below about some of your favorite extinct attractions. So let's start adding those to the list. Mr. Toad, we already talked about Mr. Toad's Wild Ride, so that is actually not on our list anymore. Stitch is actually already on our list. I was going to say the number, but I'm afraid of saying the number because then someone's going to say, oh, well, let's throw that one on there. Illuminations is on our list as well. Main Street Electrical Parade is not on our list. Let's add that one to it. Main Street Electrical Parade. The Main Street Electrical Parade. Paint the Night. Where do you keep getting these bouncy balls? That is from the Block Party Bash, which is also an extinct attraction. So let's throw that onto our list as well. Block Party. Yeah. Oh, I love Block Party Bash. The Backstage Studio Tour. We have not talked about that one, and it's not on our list. Backstage Studio Tour. World of Color is still around, so we're not going to have that one. Great Movie Ride is on our list. We have not talked about that one yet. Fantasmic's still around. Mr. Toad's Wild Ride, Barbershop. Let's see here. It's extinct here, but it's not really extinct over at Disney World. 3 Feet from the Heat / Interventions. Let's throw Interventions in there, and we'll, of course, talk about 3 Feet from the Heat if that one's on there. Osborne Family Spectacle of Dancing Lights, we did talk about, I think it was last week, maybe it was 2 weeks. It was the first one. That was actually the first one number thing that anyone ever posted, or that the number that they chose. Okay, so let's throw these ones into randomization here. Does anyone have any last ones they would like to add into it? Otherwise, we're going to be going to you guys for the random number generator to figure out exactly what we want to have our first topic of conversation here about. That thing keeps on bam. Every time someone comments on the Facebook, I don't know why it's not going through. Bear in the Big Blue House. We'll do that one in there. Bear in Big Blue House. All right, we'll switch some numbers up here. So that's not that. Not an actual ride, but that was so cute when Mickey Minnie's House. We actually talked about that one last week. We did have that one last week. Oh, Pooh's Playful Spot. Yes. Pooh's Play. Oh my gosh. Pooh's Playful Spot was my first YouTube video that did really well. I loved Pooh's Playful Spot. I absolutely loved Pooh's Playful Spot. Okay. That brings us up to 25 different options for today. So, first person to throw a thing in there into the comments below between the numbers of 1 through 25, that is going to be the first one we're going to be talking about tonight. So, anyone, everywhere, someone, choose a number between 1 and 25. We are randomly choosing and going through. Okay, so Matt's our first one. Matt says 5. So we've got our thing. And also Christine did ask what's our YouTube count. Because if you guys have not watched on a Wednesday show, if we get more subscribers as we go through and talk about the different things, we will increase our the length of the show. So every time we get a new subscriber, we'll add another thing to it. We are starting off at 1,655 subscribers. So if we go up to 1,656, we'll go into another topic. So yeah, let's get this party started. Number 5. Oh, Matt is pulling at our heartstrings right away without even realizing that he's pulling at our heartstrings. Oh, this is so there's about 4 or 5 different Disney attractions. When they closed, I bawled like a baby. This was probably the worst. This is the one that I don't think I've still yet recovered from this closure. I don't think I'll ever fully let's get into it. Starlight, star bright, first star I see tonight. I wish I may. Wishes. We're talking about wishes. Oh my gosh. Okay, let's get us started here with Wishes. Wishes debuted back in 2003, October of 2003 to be exact. When Wishes debuted, it knocked off Fantasy in the Sky, which fantasy. Wait, we talked about Wishes last week? Did we talk about Wishes last week? I don't think we talked about Wishes last. Wait a minute. Did we talk about it last week? I feel like we did not. Did we really? Batman. We were literally just talking about you the other day. You became a baby. I'm still Batman. Christian, I hope everything's going well with you. We were actually talking about you the other day. All right, well, we talked about Wishes last week, so I don't remember talking about Wishes last week. So we're going to go to the next one that was up, which was number 14. Where is 14? There's 14. 14 is the one that we actually swapped around earlier. All right, let's get to it. Number 14, ironically enough, is one that you guys just asked about. Oh, I was talking to Christian. Did you know Christian? I think you might have known. Oh wait, let's talk about it because Block Party Bash is number 14 on our list. Block Party, yeah. Oh wait, Block Party Bash. This. Wait, wait. So did we talk about Wishes or no? Throw a thing in the. I don't think we talked about Wishes. I don't remember talking about Wishes. I remember talking about Wishes in like passing a few weeks ago, but I feel like we did not have Wishes on our list yet. It was not crossed off our list yet either. Anyone? Okay, let's. No, we did not. Okay, wait. Okay, Block Party Bash. Block Party Bash will be our second one because Judy chose 14, and that's Block Party Bash. Are we all positive? We did not talk about Wishes. Or maybe it was just because I started to sing and people didn't want to hear me sing. Is that how? That seems logical. Oh, you're talking about that with Mickey May's house. Okay. Lots of confusion. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with Wishes, and then we're going to go into Block Party Bash. So, not Block Party, Wishes. Now I'm on the Block Party Bash. So we got to... Okay, so Wishes debuted in 2003, October 2003 to be exact. So Wishes actually took over the long-running Fantasy in the Sky fireworks, which was pretty much debuted with the Magic Kingdom back in 1971 and went on for years and years and years and years and years. All right, let's do a little bit of back history about Brent Dodge and his family and fireworks. So when it came to my family growing up and watching fireworks, we did not really do that. Like every now and then we liked the Phantasmic, but I remember vividly multiple times the fireworks going off and us like walking down Main Street trying to beat the traffic to the buses. We weren't a big fireworks factory. We weren't a fireworks factory either, but we weren't really a fireworks family who would sit around and wait for the fireworks. Which takes us to January of 2004. In January of 2004, I started my college program. Now, keep in mind, this was 2 months after, almost the day after Wishes first made its debut. When Wishes first made its debut, a lot of people, kind of like with when Happily Ever After opened, a lot of people who were Wishes fans were all upset. And then when Enchantment opened up, a lot of people who were Happily Ever After fans were all upset. Same thing for Wishes. So when I did my college program in 2004, I remember talking to some of the people who were there from 2003 to 2004, and they were still upset because they're like, oh, I can't believe that Disney got rid of the Fantasy in the Sky fireworks. They were the greatest fireworks of all time, blah, blah, blah. And now they get this stupid wishes. And I was like, how dare you? This is what I listen to every night. So my first memory of wishes was my very first day, like literally the day I checked the college program. I was so excited about going into a Disney park and going into specifically to Magic Kingdom. I hopped on a bus, and it was me and my roommate Chris and his girlfriend Heather, and then like 6 or 7 random people who also just checked in that day. And we're all on the bus, and we're driving over, and we're all like, we're gonna be the best of friends. And actually, I'm still Facebook friends with a few of those people, ironically, and Facebook wasn't even around yet, so that actually makes it a bit better. And my little brother and I always had this tradition of when you go to the Magic Kingdom, the first thing you do at Magic Kingdom is Space Mountain. And then after Space Mountain, you're free to pretty much do whatever you want to do. So we got to Magic Kingdom, and I was like, we're going to go on Space Mountain. And the one girl's like, no, my family's tradition is go on Astro Orbiter. And I don't know how we pulled it off, but we went on Space Mountain. And actually, this is perfect because we went on Space Mountain, and then right after Space Mountain, we went on Astro Orbiter. We go to the top, and right when we're up there, the fireworks started, wishes started. And we were on Astro Orbiter going around, fireworks going off, and it felt like something in a movie. Like it felt like The Sandlot when like they're, the 4th of July scene. It felt like that where it was like, oh my gosh, this is my life now. Like this is the coolest thing in the world. And I remember thinking, I'm not a big fireworks fan, but it's cool. And it kind of, anyways. So a few days later, I started working actually at Magic Kingdom in Fantasyland. And over the course of that year, I watched Wishes over 200 times. So over 200 different nights, I watched Wishes. It became it was the thing that I did. I loved Wishes. I fell in love with Wishes. And let's talk a little bit about Wishes. Because you can send me a message. I'll tell you. We're gonna get lots of messages from people. So anyways, so Wishes became it was a brand new thing that they wanted to do, where they were going to have it so they started to experiment with different fireworks. So before this, fireworks were just boom, boom, psh, psh, and that was about it. Like that's how fireworks worked. And at this point, they started to discover more and more things about how to actually have it so you could use the fireworks and make it so the fireworks would make different shapes, different things. And they decided to do that with Wishes. So they had it so different fireworks were making hearts, they were making different boxes, they were making different shapes. So when people are watching it, those shapes and those different things would actually go through and interact with the show itself. So overall, really, really cool concept, really, really amazing thing. But it's an extinct attraction. So let's talk a little bit about it. So when they were going through and trying to create the soundtrack for Wishes, they made it so the person who would actually be the host of the entire fireworks show would be Jiminy Cricket. Hiya, folks, it's me, your old pal, Jiminy Cricket. Huh. Look at this magical gathering of family friends. And one of the things that gets me and everything, oh my gosh, I'm going to cry. One of the things that always gets me about Wishes is the little girl they have singing, starlight, star bright, first star I see tonight. I wish I may, I wish I might, have the wish I wish tonight. And make a wish and do as dreamers do as dreamers do, and all our wishes will come true. When you wish upon a star, makes no difference who you are, anything your heart desires will come to you. Pretty, huh? Oh my gosh, I miss Wishes. And so the little girl that they have singing in it was actually a Make-A-Wish kid. So when she was going through, she was a Make-A-Wish kid, and her wish was to have it so she was actually part of some sort of Disney attraction. And they found out she could sing, and they had Wishes was actually, they were trying to find a child singer, and she became the singer of it. She passed away shortly after Wishes actually made its debut. So anyways, Wishes would go through and have it so it was about a 12-minute show, and during it you would have it so it would focus on the wishes of not just the good guys, but it would also focus on the villains as well, which I always appreciated, the fact that Disney was like, everyone has wishes, and that was the overall storyline of Wishes. Now, the reason that Wishes has always been my favorite fireworks show, without a doubt, is not just because of the pretty fireworks, but when you go through and you talk about Wishes, Wishes was the only fireworks show at Magic Kingdom, still to this day, that had a consistent storyline from start to finish. Like, the whole thing moved from one start to the end. Well, Happily Ever After had, I liked Happily Ever After, but there was not a consistent storyline. Like, it was, okay, here's a movie, now here's a movie, now here's a movie, now here, but nothing actually went, like, there wasn't a consistent storyline throughout the entire thing. For Wishes, it was a consistent storyline about wishes and making your dreams come true and everything else like that. And there's so many different parts of that I still like. I always think about when I was watching Wishes on February 14th, 2003. I was with my friend Erin, and the hearts popped up, and she's like, "Oh, they have hearts," and I was like, "Oh, they always have hearts," and she's like, "Yeah, but it's extra special today." But yeah, so Wishes would go through. Yeah, Happily Ever After. The thing I liked about Happily Ever After, like, I like the projections, I like the fireworks, but there was not enough fireworks on it to, I don't know. I'm not a big fan of Happily Ever After. I never really got into Happily Ever After, especially like if you watch it from behind the castle. It was too far apart. Like, for the fireworks, like Wishes, it was like constant fireworks. Like, if you were standing behind the castle, you could still watch fireworks over and over and over again. I remember one time watching Happily Ever After, and I timed it. It was like 3 minutes between fireworks. So I was like, unless you were in front of the castle, you would be able to see a lot of stuff, but there was not a whole lot there. Anyway, so Wishes would go on from 2003 until 2016. 2016? I want to say 16. How old is my nephew? Yeah, it was 2016. It was about a year before he was born. 2017. 2017? Maybe it was 2017. How old is my fake niece? That's the question. She'll be 4 next month. In like 2 weeks, not even 2 weeks. So yeah, it was 2018. What? No. Wait, maybe, I don't know. I'm confused now. Anyways, Wishes would eventually end, mainly due to the fact that they wanted to have a brand new fireworks show, and they came with Happily Ever After. So Wishes would end in May of the year that it ended. I'm just drawing a huge blank right now on the actual year, which is not like me. I remember that stuff. But I remember the special thing about that was my friend Catherine, who I used to watch Wishes with every single night because we did the college program together. Her and I watched Wishes one last time right in front of the partner statue. We literally camped out for like 8 hours for it, and we bawled. We bawled like little kids. It was awful. 2017. Okay, I was thinking it was 2017, but I wasn't positive. Yeah, we bawled and bawled and bawled and bawled. It was awful. It killed me. But yeah, Wishes was amazing. I loved Wishes. And so the cast have a celebration. So if you're a 5-year or 10-year, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, they have a cast celebration. My friend Lorraine, Judy's friend Lorraine as well, she posted from there about a month or two ago, and they had special fireworks. And during that special fireworks, they had Fantasy in the Sky. They had Wishes. They had Happily Ever After, and then they went into Enchantment. And I watched it and I bawled. Like, when I saw Wishes, I was like, oh my God, I've missed this so much. And I still, to this day, I think out of all the things that Disney's gotten rid of, Wishes is the one that I miss more than anything else. I loved Wishes. It was near and dear to my heart. It still is near and dear to my heart. It was the symbol of my college program. Like it really was. Like it was one of those things where we used to watch it every night and we bonded together over it every night. And if it was not for Wishes, I'm sure other things would make it too. But some of my best friendships were bonded over watching that fireworks show. So that is Wishes. That was like that was unlike all the other ones we've talked about. That was much more of a personal story than anything else like that. All right, let's talk about the next one that was chosen was number 14, which is Block Party Bash. Block Party. Yeah. Block Party Bash. Oh my gosh. Block Party Bash originally debuted over in Disneyland, Disney California Adventure, actually, back in 2008. It only lasted there for about a year until eventually it made its way over to Disney's Hollywood Studios. When it made its way over to Disney's Hollywood Studios, it became one of my favorite things of all time. Now, I moved here in 2010. I had my first experience with Block Party Bash in 2009. Or I'm sorry, no, I had it actually over in California Adventure. And then I had my first experience here in 2009. And one of the little balls flew at me. I got it, and I was like, oh, this is awesome. I got a ball. And like little kids are like, I want it. I'm like, get away from me, kid. And so I got my little Block Party Bash ball. So Block Party, and we're going to talk because there's a lot of Block. Yeah, we're going to talk about Block Party Bash quite a bit. So Block Party Bash was essentially a parade, but a party parade. So it would consisted of a few different floats. The different floats consisted of little floats that had The Incredibles on it. And then it had characters like Toy Story, Monsters, Inc. The Monsters, Inc. one was such a cool float. It was like, you had like Mike Wazowski up there, and then you had underneath, it was Sully along with the teenage guys. Mr. Wazowski! I love those guys. And then I told her, well, you're not going to treat me like that. And then what'd she say? Well, you know my mom. She made me go to my room. They cracked me up. He had George Sanderson with the sock on his back. And then we also, with Toy Story, we had Not Tough to Be, A Bug's Life. And then, so they would go through down the street and they would play different songs. And then they would have it. So there was 2 different Block Party Bash spots. So the first one would be over at Disney's Hollywood Studios. It would be right there down Hollywood Boulevard. And they would go through and they would have it. So there was a dance party going on. And they would bring people from the street. And you would go out there and you'd be dancing with the characters, having a great old time. And then at the end, they'd be like, Block Party. Yeah. And then the balls would shoot at you into the air. Oh my gosh, I'm dropping everything all of a sudden. I got too excited. So it was overall, it was a fun time. And then after that, it would go to the next station, which was over in front of where currently now is the Frozen sing-along and then Indiana Jones type of area. And it would sit there, they would go through the exact same show, and then they would shoot the balls up in the air, and then they would go backstage over by Star Tours. And then if you went back there, it was really cool because they would like, bye, party, and they'd shoot balls in the air. So if you guys were not following me back in 2010, then you guys probably missed out on the greatest love story of all time. So when I first moved down here, I didn't have a job. I was trying to do full-time author / podcaster / everything else. And when I started to go through and I was going through and trying to have it so I did that, I had all the free time in the world. So what I used to do is I came up with a genius idea, literally like within the first week of me living down here. And I said, you know what I could do is I could go over to Hollywood Studios every day at 3:00 and I could have it so I watch Block Party Bash and collect enough of these balls to fill up an entire ball pit of Block Party Bash balls. And I would go over there literally every single day. And every single day you would go through and I'd get more and more Block Party Bash balls until eventually it got to the point where I was like, I'm getting a lot of Block Party Bash balls. So I ended up, no joke, buying myself a child-sized pool for my condo so I could put as many block party bash balls in there as possible. We counted one time, actually, during the Wednesday show. We actually did an episode back in like 2012 to count how many block party bash balls I had. And I think the final count was somewhere in the 3,000 range. So eventually Block Party Bash would close up a year after I moved down here. It was January 31st of 2011. It would close up forever. And the reason they closed up forever was just mainly due to the fact they're going to bringing in a brand new experience. And then the brand new experience didn't come for like 6 months, and it killed me because I was like, oh, I could get more Block Party Bash balls. However, I have enough friends that are cast members that all of a sudden one day I get a phone call from one of my friends who is a cast member. Ring, ring, hello. And my friend pointed out that, hey, these Block Party Bash balls are being sold over at Cast Connection, which is a Disney store of like overstocked stuff. And you need to have a cast member bring you in. So I had a cast member bring me in, and they were selling barrels of these things. And they had it so it was like a barrel, but it was like 4. So it would be like a little thing like this. And we're like, oh, okay, like you can buy 4 balls for 10 cents. And I was like, well, I would love to have it, so I go through and buy all this. So I went through and I spent like $25, and I got a ton of different of these Block Party Bash balls. And then the next week I went in again, and I was like, oh, I'm going to go get some more of these Block Party Bash balls because they restocked it. And the next week they were 25 cents. And I asked the cast member, and I was like, why are these 25 cents? They were 10 cents last week. She's like, oh, some guy came through and bought like every single one of them. And I was like, that was me. And then the next week they were 50 cents. And then the week after that, they were 75 cents. And then eventually they were $1. And that's when I was like, maybe I should stop buying the remaining of these Block Party Bash balls. But some of my friends did buy a bunch more, and they kept them like, that was like my birthday present that year. Like a bunch of people were like, here's your birthday present. We got to see some more Block Party Bash balls. And yeah, so I bought a kid size little, like a inflatable. You price yourself out. I did price myself out. I got myself a inflatable kiddie pool, and I had it in that corner over there. And then eventually there was a leak coming out of like the little socket that comes out of the over by the toilet, like the toilet socket thing, that was leaking one day. And I had nothing to stop it with except for buckets. So I was like, okay. So I put a bucket under there, and it filled up like instantly. I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, when I go to work, I don't know what I'm going to do because this thing's going to be like overflowing. So I had to take the inflatable pool and stick it underneath. And that was the end of the Block Party Bash ball pit. And it makes me sad sometimes thinking about the fact that I don't have that anymore. My favorite, this is like just this like personal story night tonight when it comes to our extinct attractions. My favorite part about that though was I wrote a thing on my website talking about what was I doing with the ball pit? The ball pit was the most relaxing thing in the world. I had my friend Randy, when I first met her, and it was her and a few of my other friends came over here one day, and we did like a game night. And Randy was like, this is the greatest thing in the world. Because what you would do is you lay on because there are so many of them. So you'd lay down and you'd prop your legs up and you would push against the wall and you would slide across the, and like this is, when I say a kid-size pool, I don't mean like one of those like little circular ones. I mean like a big, like if I laid in it, my head to my toes could not touch either end. Like it was probably 8 to 10 feet long. So I used to sit quite often because it was very relaxing. Like it was very relaxing. It was very therapeutic on the back too, because you just like roll on it. But I wrote something on my website about how I had the world's largest Block Party Bash collection. And I got this message from this lady a few months later. And she's like, hey, this is going to sound really weird. She's like, but we went to Disney World and my son got a red Block Party Bash ball. And it was his favorite thing that he got the entire trip. He brings his Block Party Bash ball around everywhere, and he's absolutely obsessed with it. And unfortunately, his little sister wanted to play with it, and I said, let her play with it. That's fine. And he said, no, Mom, like, I'm afraid that if I give it to the Block Party Bash Ball, if I give it to her, she's gonna eat it. And she's not gonna eat it. She's like 2, but she's not gonna eat it. Well, the girl ate the ball, and she's like, I saw that you have the world's largest Block Party Bash Ball collection. Would it be too much to ask? She's like, I'll pay you $5. I'll pay you $10, whatever you want. She's like, can you please send me a red one? And so I sent her one of each color. I didn't charge them because I was like, it's a funny story. I gave him one of each color, and then I gave him an extra red one. And I put down the note. I said, in case your daughter gets hungry. And she never responded ever again. I never heard back from that lady. So I hope they got I hopefully her daughter, didn't starve to death. Okay, anyways, that's Block Party Bash. That was like the most random long story ever to continue our thing here. Okay. Hello, love pugs. And that's the little boy's villain origin story. I forgot it was Wednesday. No. Okay, let's get this party started. Let's keep on going. Throw a number between 1 and 25. So far, we've gone on and on about nothing. So far, we've had number 5 and 14 chosen so far. We have time for at least one more, but hopefully 2 more, and hopefully even more than that if we increased our YouTube numbers for today. Number 25. 2 people said 25. 25 it is. 25 is the one. Matt actually brought this one up. He was the one who suggested this one. Pooh's Playful Spot. Let's talk about Pooh's Playful Spot. This is going to be a short enough one that we're going to have another spot here. So if you guys remember 2 weeks ago when we talked about 20,000 Leagues Down to the Sea, I talked about how I was there right when the day when they like leveled it out and they filled the whole thing up. No personal connection. I still have, I can talk about anything forever and be like, oh yeah, there's this one time I saw a caterpillar. He's like, I'm gonna be a butterfly, and so 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea sat vacant for like 10 years. Like, it literally just sat there like empty. And so eventually what they did was they filled it in, and they had it so they weren't really sure what they were going to do with it quite yet. They were going to have it so eventually they would come up with the idea of New Fantasyland, but that's still a few years out from where we're at. So essentially, Fantasyland at this point was extremely small. Not extremely small, but it was a lot smaller than what it is today. So if you would go to Fantasyland, it would end at the Teacups. Past that was Toontown. And then right next to the Teacups was the Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh, where it currently sits today. At that point, the Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh actually had it so instead of being the interactive queue that we all know and love today, there were giant green poles, and then with these green poles, there was these giant pages of the book. And it was interactive for the time. Like, it was not as elaborate of a queue as we have today, but it was kind of like you getting ready for the story. So if you would go through that part of the queue at that point, you would go through and it would be kind of like a chapter 1 of the book. And it would just be kind of introducing you to the different characters. It would say things like, Winnie the Pooh was an amazing bear who would go on traveling adventures with Christopher Robin and Piglet and rabbits, of course, too. And they would kind of go through and it would be telling you a little bit about those characters. On the other side of this area, right across from where Winnie the Pooh was, where Seven Dwarfs Mine Train currently sits today, was just a hill. Like, there was just like dirt and nothing else. So what they decided to do was they decided to have it so in that location they would create a small little play area called Pooh's Playful Spot. Now, Pooh's Playful Spot was a very small area. It consisted of a bridge. And when I say a bridge, I mean it was literally you were still walking on the ground, but they had it so the ground looked like it was a bridge. There was like poles that you could walk, next to. But then underneath this bridge was blue water going underneath you. They had it so there was Rabbit's Garden, and at Rabbit's Garden there was things like carrots, but carrots was spelled Kerrits. And then you would have it so you could find Gopher's house there. You could find a reference to Piglet. You could find references to Pooh. And there was no real honest, like, unless you knew the story of Christopher Robin, it wasn't really obvious what it was. It was a very simple area. The only thing that they had there, which really was one of the coolest things about it, was they had a giant tree in the center of the entire area, which had Mr. Sanders out front with a little mailbox. Now, if you've ever gone on the Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh today, you've seen the same tree. The tree was actually sitting there in front of, well, now it sits in front of Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh. That same exact tree actually used to sit across the way. I actually think I might have a YouTube video from 2010 up where it goes through and actually has a video footage of the crane pulling that aside. Because I used to go on, when they started the construction for New Fantasyland, I used to actually go on Dumbo all the time and be like, ooh, look at that over there. And I remember one time, I think I got it on video someplace. One time I saw the tree, like, not like, but it was, they were slowly moving across the street. So the Pooh's Playful Spot had it so it would replace the location of 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. If you watched my YouTube short yesterday, I also posted the same thing on Instagram Reels. I also posted on TikTok, which apparently I'm on now. Well, I am on now. I just don't understand TikTok at all. I don't like it. I really despise TikTok. I like YouTube. I like Instagram. I like Facebook. Those are the three that I like the most. But anyways, I posted a video yesterday of it, and I'm sure that's why someone thought about Pooh's Playful Spot and throwing it to this thing. But Pooh's Playful Spot replaced 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. So if you still go into Mr. Sanders' tree to this very day, if you go in there, there's the main entrance, and inside the main entrance on the back wall, you have a picture of a bee because bees make honey. There's always been some like honey pots in there as well. And then if you look at the side door, above the side door, there is actually a little imprint, a little carving of the Nautilus to pay tribute to 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. So 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea was replaced by Pooh's Playful Spot. Pooh's Playful Spot disappeared mainly just due to the fact that they're creating New Fantasyland. So when they decided to come up with the idea of New Fantasyland, a lot of those things that were found in Pooh's Playful Spot were just brought across the street, and they made it so Pooh's Playful Spot Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh then had an interactive queue, mainly consisting of all the different things that were found at Pooh's Playful Spot. So if you've been in the line for the Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh, a lot of those things do come from Pooh's Playful Spot. Not all of them, but they are kind of references to that area over there. Also, fun fact before we get into our next number here, did you also know that if you go to like the area in the line where you can now meet Winnie the Pooh, like right now he's not doing meet and greets, but they're like the extended queue part, which was also a meet and greet area. At one point when they first opened up the attraction, I think I might be the only person with this on video. They actually had it so there was a Tigger bounce area, and you would jump into these like circle plates, and it would go down, and the spring would like kind of pop you up. And they got rid of it within the first day because people were getting hurt. So one thing that we have not done tonight is let's go to your questions. Does anyone have any questions about Pooh's Playful Spot, Wishes, or Block Party Bash before we move on to our next number? Our next number will be our final number unless we get some new subscribers here before we conclude. So anyone have any questions out there? I keep on forgetting to ask for questions. We usually do the question part. So we will most likely, unless we have a new subscriber, we started at 1655. Any questions? Otherwise, if no questions, we're going to be going to our next number here. There's a lot of people watching tonight, but the chat it's the same 3 or 4 people. Yeah, so the fireworks show over at Disneyland, yeah, part of it was inspired by Wishes. They had a few of the same speaking parts were there as well. So yeah, there was some inspiration, but not fully inspired by Wishes. Good question. I have an off-subject question. Do you think they will ever do anything different with Tom Sawyer Island? I hope not, because I love Tom Sawyer Island I absolutely love Tom Sawyer Island. I always say when you go through Magic Kingdom makes me feel like a kid, but Tom Sawyer Island, there's something about it that like I run around like crazy. Like I feel like I am me as a child, where like I used to run through the woods and play in the woods and stuff like that. It makes every time I'm at Tom Sawyer Island. All right, looks like we might not have any other questions. So someone out there throw a number between 1 and 24. We've already done 25, so 1 through 24. No number 5 and no number 14. Do you think they'll change the Pirates Lair? I could see them changing the Pirates Lair over at Disneyland's Tom Sawyer Island sometime in the near future, but I'm not exactly sure when, if ever. All right, 24 is the first one that popped up here. So that's going to be our next one to go through. Okay, let's talk about TGIF. Thank God it's Friday, aka the greatest block of television history besides the Disney afternoon. TGIF, if you guys didn't know, back in the 1990s, there was a block of television on ABC. And on this block of television, you would go through and you would have some of the best, most iconic TV shows of all time. You had things like Full House, Step by Step, Step by Step, Day by Day. You had Boy Meets World, and of course, you also had Family Matters. All 4 of these different shows would eventually go to Walt Disney World at one place or another, one time or another. However, it was only one of these shows that would actually introduce the world to a brand new attraction. That's right. They used TGIF to show the world a brand new attraction that would be opening up at the same time. It wasn't Boy Meets World. In Boy Meets World, they go over to the Living Seas where Topanga is making googly eyes at that boy. Oh. And then remember Corey and Sean slept in the Splash Mountain block and then they woke up and they're at the top of the hill? I always found that funny. Full House, we had it so Michelle became the princess for the day and she could do anything she wanted to, and Stephanie was really jealous, and they went over to Grand Floridian and Uncle Jesse was like, oh, I'm so sorry, Jiminy Jigglypuffs. And then what was the third one I said? Not failing. Oh, Step by Step. They had that guy who replaced Cody for like the final 2 seasons. He went through and he did every single attraction in a week, and they were like, oh, that's a really good idea. Dude, come on. Welcome to the Crazy Challenge game. And then our final one was Family Matters. In Family Matters, Steve Urkel, a.k.a. Did I Do That? He created a brand new invention. And when he created this brand new invention, he was actually invited to go to Walt Disney World to take part in a brand new thing happening down at Epcot called Innoventions. What? Yeah, so Innoventions was actually first introduced to the world by TGIF with Family Matters, where we had Steve Urkel use the Urkelnator, where he became Stefan. We're talking more about this than anything else. Oh, yes, so Bring the Teenage Witch went to Animal Kingdom when it first opened up. I remember that as well. Oh, I love TGIF. Anyway, and also, side note, Will Friedle, who played Eric Matthews, Daniel Fishel, who plays Topanga, and then Ryder Strong, who played Sean, they just started a podcast a few weeks ago called Pod Meets World, and it's about Boy Meets World, and it's fascinating so far. Anyways, I'm on like the 3rd or 4th episode already. Anyways, that's besides the point. So Innoventions was created specifically for a thing to showcase the future of Innovention. Now, before this, we had Communicore. Communicore was a circular disc, or not complete circular disc, but it was 2 different wings that would have it so guests could go in and they could learn about different things that were coming in the future. Innoventions kind of took that a step up, and they had it so it was more of a sponsored area where people could go in and they could learn about different ideas that places had for the future, and they could also experience different things, so they could go in and actually find out exactly how the future will look with some of these ideas. For instance, if you ever went to it at the end of its reign, there was things like Sum of All Thrills, where you could actually go in and program your very own roller coaster and have it so go upside down, upside down, upside down, upside down, upside down. I think the most it'll let you do is 9 times. And I used to max it out 9 times every single time because that's what made it fun. In addition to Sum of All Thrills, then you also had things like There was the weather one. Remember the weather? Stormstruck, where they actually had a weatherman come out and they were like, okay, this is what's going on. We got a hurricane coming over this way, and we're going to build a house. So you'd actually go through and you would help build a house and choose the things that were going to be the safest. They have it so it would withstand the winds of the hurricane. This one drove me crazy. And let me explain why it drove me crazy. It drove me crazy mainly due to the fact that I always wanted to destroy the house. But it came down to a poll where you would go in and they'd be like, okay, we can either use these staples, which are not very sturdy, or we could use these other staples which are extremely sturdy. And everyone's like, oh, well, I want to go for those ones. I'm like, no, like, don't try to win, try to lose. I want to see how much damage, because the more damage that happens to the house, like the whole wind or the whole room would have like wind going through it, and like it would spray you with water. And I always wanted to just go in with a bunch of people and be like, okay, we're all choosing the wrong choice, so we can just get soaking wet and it'd be hilarious. And no one ever wanted to do it with me. And that made me so mad, still to this day. Anyways, in addition to that, we had Colortopia, which was the final addition to it, which was voiced by Ty Burrell. And you would go through and you would paint the walls. And it was actually a very cool, interesting thing, talking about how different colors influence different people. In addition to that, we had a House of the Future, which Matt just kind of mentioned there as well. The House of the Future, probably my least favorite part of the entire experience. I didn't really care for it that much. But they also had a waste product one where you would actually be garbage men and go through and transfer garbage. A lot more fun than it sounds. And then some of my favorite ones they ever had, and they were some of the first ones to close up before Interventions closed permanently. They had the Great Piggy Bank Adventure, where you would go through and you would have your own piggy bank and walk through and have it so, oh, I love the Great Piggy Bank Adventure. And you would go through and learn how to invest and how to save. And there was different games where like you could, that's me turning trampolines so coins would fall off and they would go, oh, it was so much fun. And then my favorite one of all time that I could not, oh, I absolutely loved it, was Where's the Fire? Where's the Fire? You would have flashlights they would put out the fire. And you would go through and you would put out fire. Like you would find like there's an electrical fire right there. Let's get it. And it was a fun game. It was extremely interactive. There was always that one guy every time I went there that was just yelling like a crazed maniac. Oh, that was me. But it was so much fun. I absolutely loved Where's the Fire. It was such a fun game. Also, in addition to all those things, other things that were at Interventions throughout the years was the creation of the internet. You would go in there and you would actually find things like AOL, and they would teach you about AOL, the brand new communication of the future. And people would be fascinated by it. I was fascinated by it. You could also go in there at times and you could have it so you could meet the characters. You could go take a ride on a Segway. There was a Laugh Factory, which was not that funny. But it was all these different things that it would have it so you, the guests, were interacting with ways that could help improve the future. And then, of course, the final one, which Alex had brought up when she said Interventions earlier, I think Alex might have gone to bed, was 3 Feet from the Heat. 3 feet from the heat. Hey, 3 feet from the heat. Ho! 3 feet from the heat. And it was Timon and Pumbaa going through the safety classes and teaching you how to have it so you kept things away from the heat to be safety smart. So overall, an amazing, amazing experience. Interventions would eventually close up, mainly just due to the fact that they were deciding to do a brand new layover of all of Epcot. So a few years ago, if you guys weren't aware, like we have things like Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind. We've got things like Remy's Ratatouille Adventure. And then most recently, we've also had things like Connections Cafe, Connections Eatery, and then the Creations Shop as well. All those different things, because of these brand new things and these brand new experiences, they needed to have a room, and they realized that not many people were actually going into Interventions, so they decided to get rid of Interventions. Okay, so any questions about Interventions? While you guys think of questions, let's look through. We started off at 1655. Have we gone up at all? Have we gone up at all? You guys have earned some extra things. Oh, yeah. Yeah, Inventions closed in Disneyland to make room for the launch bay. I always like the Inventions out there, too. I like the two stories. That was always fun. All right. No questions? Otherwise, give us another number. You guys have earned a bonus. Those extra YouTube accounts come in handy. I'm just kidding. It wasn't me. Okay, throw a number out there. Any number will do. Well, as long as it's not one that we've already done. Oh, the first one that popped up is the one I've been dreading. Joe, are you still on? I feel like Joe needs to be on for this one because Joe has been throwing this one out every single week. Maybe? Joe? I don't know if you can hear me or if you're even there. Because, Joe, if you're not on, we'll go to the next one. I apologize, but we will be going to the next one. And Matt, just hold on to that number for next time. I don't think Joe's out there. Maybe we do it, and then Joe will feel bad for leaving next week when he's like, haha, I want you to do Stitch. And we're like, haha, we already did Stitch, punk. Okay, let's go to we'll go to our next one just to make Joe happy. Number 16. All right. Number 16. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Disneyland proudly presents the Main Street Electrical... Actually, not the Main Street Electrical Parade. However, the Main Street Electrical Parade was a staple of the Magic Kingdom and Disneyland from 1971 all the way until recent times. Well, it's still going strong over at Disneyland today. But eventually, it would be replaced by a brand new nighttime spectacular called Spectro Magic. Spectro Magic featured creepy clowns. Remember the creepy clowns? Who remembers the creepy clowns? Everyone remembers remember those guys? They were very creepy. So, Spectro Magic was added as the brand new electrical light parade, the Main Street Electrical Parade. But when the Main Street Electrical Parade made its way over to Disneyland, they decided that they needed to have a brand new nighttime parade over at Walt Disney World. So they created Spectro Magic. And Spectro Magic also, much like Wishes, was actually narrated by the one and only Jiminy Cricket. Jiminy Cricket would come out. Actually, he would not really come out, but you would hear his voice at the start, and he would talk about how there's something magical about Main Street at night. And eventually, you would have your first float come out, and it was those creepy clowns. They were so creepy. And then eventually, you would get to... I'm trying to... It's right... Oh, it's just out of arm reach. I've got... Have you ever heard of piece of history pins? There's these piece of history pins where it's a pin featuring something that used to exist at Disney, and they take a small part of it and they put in like a little bubble. They did those for Spectrum Magic, and for a while there, I was collecting all of them. I was like, oh, I'm gonna hit every single one. And then they kept on coming out with more and more. I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm gonna be able to rebuild the entire parade off these pins. So I had to stop. But you would go through and Spectrum Magic would go through and they would have it so there were several different floats that were different than Main Street Electrical Parade. Personally, between the Main Street Electrical Parade and Spectrum Magic, I actually prefer Spectrum Magic. There was something about Spectrum Magic. I don't know what it was, but there was something about Spectrum Magic that I just absolutely loved. I don't know if it was the floats. I don't know if it was the storyline. I don't know if it was what it was. You would start off with the creepy clowns, and you would go all the way through until eventually you would have Mickey on the back waving, and then Jiminy Cricket, a small little animatronic of Jiminy Cricket, just waving at the people as they would walk behind the floats. The Spectrum Magic debuted back in the 1990s and then eventually would close up in 2011 to make way for, ironically, the Main Street Electrical Parade. 2010. It was 2010. So when they decided to have it so they would replace it with the Main Street Electrical Parade at Disneyland, a lot of people figured, oh, okay, what they're going to be doing is they're probably just going to be taking Spectrum Magic and sending it off to Disneyland. Right around that same time, they came up with the idea of having a brand new nighttime parade over at Disneyland called Paint the Night. And when they came up with that idea, they said, oh, well, we don't really need Spectrum Magic at all anymore. So about a week or two after it closed up permanently here, there was a person who found the pieces of Spectrum Magic in a garbage dumpster. So Spectrum Magic unfortunately met its demise that very day. Among the different floats, we had floats for Flora, Fauna, and Merryweather. Each one of them actually had their own float. In addition to that, we had the 3 little pigs along with the big bad wolf and several other floats as well. All the different characters had it so they would light up, kind of like how the Main Street Electrical Parade would have it so the different characters would light up. But you would go through, and I think there was just something a little bit more special about Spectrum Magic, and I just can never put my finger on exactly what it was, but I always loved Spectrum Magic just a little bit more. Okay, any questions about Spectrum Magic? You guys earned 1 more because we did get that other subscriber there. Should we see if we're going to like 15 innings? No, we got time for 1 more, it looks like. 1 more, so someone out there throw a number out. Or if you have questions, throw your questions out, and then we'll go to the number. Okay. 17 barely beat 9, like by literally like just a second. So we're doing 17 here. Ooh. Oh, a 17. This is an attraction that still exists at Walt Disney World. However, it is an extinct attraction at Disneyland. And we're going to talk about it because, one, I mean, I love this attraction. I never had a chance to experience it at Disneyland. However, the attraction at Walt Disney World is still going strong today, and it's one of my favorite attractions of all time. So let's go back to the 1964 World's Fair. So the 1964 World's Fair, let's name them. You guys know them. What are the attractions that opened up at the 1964 World's Fair that were put on by the Walt Disney Company, the Disney Company, Disney Corporation, whatever you want to call it? What were the attractions? There was 4 of them. What were the 4 attractions that opened up with Disney in 1964? The 1964 World's Fair. We're going to you guys in the chat room to answer this question. Possibly. Otherwise, I'll just answer the question. Oh, we have It's a Small World After All. It's a world of laughter. Carousel of Progress. There's a great, big, beautiful tomorrow shining at the end of every day. We have 2 more attractions that opened, and here is what they say. Maybe someone will know it now. People Mover, aka if it was the Ford Motor Speedway, was the official name for it at that point. And then the final one was Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln, which still is going strong today. So out of those 4, there is one of those that is no longer at Disneyland. The other 4 are still going strong. It's a Small World still there. Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln is still there. And Carousel of Progress, I guess that's not there. It's not over in Disney World. But the one we're going to be talking about is the Ford Motor Speedway, which eventually would morph into the People Mover attraction. So the Ford Motor Speedway would actually have it. So in 1964, guess who boarded over at the 1964 World's Fair? You would hop inside of a Ford, like an actual Ford car, but the Ford car was on an Omni Mover track. This Omni Mover track would take you all around the area and have it so you could learn a little bit about Ford. It was an amazing highway in the sky, if you will. And while you were going through there, it was just a simple, luxurious attraction. I was going to say something else, and then I drew a blank, so I just said attraction. So you actually go through, and you would just kind of relax and soar through the sky and enjoy your time up on the Ford Motor Speedway. Right after the fair ended, they decided to bring all these different attractions back. However, with the Ford Motor Speedway, they couldn't really bring that one back because it was a Ford car. It was a bunch of Ford cars, actually. And they decided to tweak it a little bit and create a brand new attraction based off the same exact technology and the same type of thing. The attraction that they came up with was none other than the People Mover. So the People Mover would open up in the 1960s, and when it first opened up in Tomorrowland, it was a very slow-moving ride all around Tomorrowland. I was going to say it still is today, but it's not exactly even there. So guests would board in the center of Tomorrowland, and then they would go through the different things, and you would look down upon different attractions. If you've ever watched some of the old footage of Disneyland, there is one attraction, and I'm also in the Adventures Through Inner Space, when they're going through the queue and they've got the mighty microscope there. In the background, you can actually see the People Mover going through. It's always really cool for me. So you can go through there. You can go through Space Mountain, much like it goes through here. It would go and kind of weave around the monorail. So the monorail would go over it. It would go over the monorail. And it would also go over the Autopia track and so many other things. Unlike the Walt Disney World version, where you're always at the same level, the one over there would go up and down, up and down. So you would actually have it so you were never on the same level, but you would always be going up and down and enjoying all of Tomorrowland for what it is. Eventually, in the 1990s, they decided that maybe, just maybe, people are getting sick of the People Mover. What? Why? Who? And they decided that maybe the best thing that they could do is create a brand new high-speed attraction on the exact same track. So they created a brand new attraction called Rocket Rods. Rocket Rods was one of the most ridiculous attractions that Disney's ever created. In fact, Rocket Rods failed miserably. Like, it would break down constantly, and it only lasted for a few months before it shut down permanently. Rocket Rods would have it so it's the same track, but you would go, and then all of a sudden, like, as soon as you got to a current, it would be like, the sound effects not included. So shortly after Rocket Rods would start having so many different technical difficulties, they said, you know what? This is a shame. We need to bring back the People Mover. So they went through and they filed for construction to have it so they would bring back the People Mover, even though it was the exact same track. And at that point, OSHA stepped in and they said, unfortunately, since you already changed the track one time to Rocket Rods, we cannot have it so you can actually open up this attraction again. And people were like, what? Why not? And the main reason was because OSHA guidelines had completely changed since they did the remodel for Rocket Rods, and the safety structures for this attraction would have been grandfathered in if it had stayed the People Mover, but because they had changed it to Rocket Rods, the OSHA guidelines were no longer grandfathered in, and they had to get rid of the People Mover. Now, in order for them to actually redo the entire People Mover track, it would cost millions and millions and millions of dollars to meet all the requirements that OSHA actually had them do. So for years and years and years, people kept on saying that maybe, just maybe, we will never get the People Mover again. However, there is a rumor right now that Disney has filed to start construction on the People Mover again, and it has approval from OSHA to go through and make the changes needed. If this is true, this is a great day for all of us. If it is not true, well, it's the same thing that's been going on since the 1990s, where we are just sad because we don't have the People Mover in our lives. I have a feeling, I have a weird gut feeling that in September during the D23 Expo, we may get the announcement that the Rocket, or not the Rocket Rods, that the People Mover will be coming back in place of nothing. Like, if you go out to Disneyland, if you've ever been out to Disneyland, it's crazy. Like, you can see the track everywhere. Like, it's everywhere around the land, and it's just so sad that, like, you can't go on it. I would pay money just to do a walking tour of the track. But they keep on saying, you know, I'm not going to take your $12. Okay, so was it ever called the People Mover or always the W.E.D.nesday People Mover? Over there, it had both names. It was the People Mover and it was also the W.E.D.nesday People Mover. Over here, it started off as the W.E.D.nesday People Mover, then became the Tomorrowland Transit Authority People Mover, then it became the People Mover, then it became the Tomorrowland Transit Authority, then the Tomorrowland Transit Authority People Mover. So the name changes have happened a lot throughout the years. for all the different attractions, or for all the different variations of the People Mover, both on the East Coast and over on the West Coast as well. Brent wants a piece of the track. 100% I do. I want the People Mover car. I don't like, I like this one, but I want like the legit, I want a People Mover car right there in my condo and just watch TV with my feet up. Oh, that would be the dream. That's the dream. That is the dream that we've all been searching for all these different years. You'll be there. Oh, I got one of my friends has invited me to go with them. I just don't know if my job will approve me having 4 vacations in the course of 2 months. Oh, because I will literally be leaving for a Disney cruise the week after. After the D23 Expo, so the D23 Expo, and then it's the next week is my Disney cruise. So I just, I don't know. Speaking of which, we are going to be going to Disneyland soon. Next month, we'll be going to Disneyland. We're going to try to figure out a time to do a meetup in Disneyland if you guys are out in Disneyland. And when we get all those details situated, we will figure out when we're going to have a meetup. So if you're interested and you're out in Disneyland and you want to do a meetup, let me know, and I will send you a message with when we're thinking about it. I'm kind of thinking maybe we'll just all watch the Main Street Electrical Parade together one night. So that is kind of my idea, but we'll see. I've also been trying to think of, someone pitched an idea on my Instagram not that long ago about doing a Brent Dodge meetup here at Walt Disney World sometime in the future, and I want to do it. I just don't know how or when or yeah. It's always kind of weird to me. Like, people are like, oh, I want to meet you. But yeah, sometime in the near future, we'll do a Walt Disney World meetup. Like I said, next week I will be flying up to see my family in Wisconsin. My back is sore. And then a few weeks later, I'll be going to Disneyland. And a few weeks after that, it's going to be the Disney cruise. And then a few weeks later that, I'll probably be looking for a new job because my job will probably fire me for you actually using all the vacation time that I've earned throughout the years. And, how do you know how to do it at Disneyland but not Disney World? Well, okay, so that's a good question. I don't know. So when I first started doing this show, when I first started doing the Wednesday show, we would go through and we would go through, and I had a lot of people who were from California that would watch the show, and I'd say, hey, like, when I'm out at Disneyland, we'll do a meetup. And we did meetups, and then there was like 20 people. And then we did a meetup here for Disney World, and I decided, oh, I know what we're going to do. We're going to do a game. And everyone hated me. Everyone absolutely hated me. And now no joke, I want to do that same game again, but I want to do the game as a YouTube video and have it so people actually bring like GoPros, and like it becomes like a competition. And then it could be like a series on my YouTube channel as well. I really want to do that. So maybe sometime in the near future we'll do that. But I also think we'll do a meetup at some point too, because to just kind of go through and talk Disney, maybe ride the People Mover together and all that other fun stuff. But yeah, I don't know. I always because we had one meetup here. And there were like 4 people who showed up, and it was like 4 of my friends. I was like, oh, okay, well, I guess we could have just, all met up on our own too. So we'll have to figure out a time to do a meetup, and then also how to go about doing the meetup and scheduling the meetup and all the other fun stuff, because I don't know. It's weird. Like, I don't know. It's kind of weird. It is kind of weird. He likes the Disneyland people more, and I don't like I like everyone equally. I think that one time when I did the meetup and there was like 4 people who showed up, I was like, oh, this is disappointing. And then I just was like, well, I guess no one wants to come to these. And that was like in 2012 or 2013. And I don't think I've ever done one since. So should we do a meetup? Raise your hand if you're a Walt Disney World local and would like to do a meetup. I like to do a meetup just to like hang out with people. Meet up at Guest Wiki, and we get your arm floaties ready and swim on out. Okay, Lauren and Christine, we'll do a meetup. I think the only other problem that I have with meetups is the fact that for me, my schedule, because most people have normal work weeks where they're like, off on Saturdays and Sundays. Saturdays and Sundays, like I do my broadcast the Saturday in the park, and then it's like literally like, okay, like I have maybe 20, 30 minutes to play in the park for myself after filming and videos and everything else. And then it's like, okay, now I have to head up to work. And so Saturdays and Sundays like don't work for me. So like if we did a meetup, it would have to be like a Tuesday or a Thursday evening would probably be the best. And I know that probably is not probably the best situation. You'll fly down for a land one. Okay, so right now, tentatively speaking, if we do a Disneyland one, it would be August 20th. August 20th would be our Disneyland one if we do a Disneyland one. I'm only in Disneyland for a total of 2 full days and like 3 hours on another day. And then I'm doing the Walt Disney Family Museum. And then, it's a very, very short trip to Disneyland. So we'll figure it out. But anyways, that was like that was completely like long side note, nothingness. All right, on that note, I'd like to remind you guys that once again, tonight's show is sponsored by, I had them all right here, and then I put them all down. And now you know the story about the balls. It's all about the mouse travel. Make sure you stop by allaboutthemousetravel.com for all of your Disney travel needs. All of their services are absolutely positively 100% free. So make sure you book with them for your next Disney vacation. I'd like to thank everyone out there for joining us once again this week. Please keep on spreading the word about the Wednesday show and from Screen and Theme, and invite anyone and everyone to join the group over on Facebook or here over on the YouTube channel as well. We are continuing to grow that YouTube channel. So thank you everyone out there who's been giving those videos a like, a comment, a view, sharing with a friend. Yesterday was our first time in 21 days. And okay, I want to start this off by, this is not me being upset. This is me being extremely grateful. Yesterday was the first time in 21 days that we were below 1,000 views for the day. First time in 21 days. That's amazing. We have never gone 3 days in a row with over 1,000 views, much less 21 days in a row over 1,000 views. So yes, it's like, oh man, I wish we would have kept the streak alive. But at the same time, holy cow, look at the record we can beat now. Like we can now go for trying to beat 21 consecutive days of having over 1,000 views. So thank you everyone out there who has been watching those YouTube videos, giving them a like, giving a comment, sharing with a friend. Every single view, every comment, every like truly, 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 I cannot stress this enough, truly helps me in the long run. Just tonight, we've gone up 2 subscribers since we started the show. Every subscriber, it helps. Every single one of these things helps me to continue to bring you guys daily Disney videos. So make sure you keep on sharing the word, spreading the word, sharing the videos, and spreading kindness all around. And of course, if you guys have not already ordered your copies of A Closer Look Yet, or A Closer Look Yet, or A Closer Look Yet, make sure you go visit the shop now button to order your books. To order your books. I went into our old spiel from like 10 years ago. I can't even talk. Make sure if you order today, I'll send the books out tomorrow. I don't know words anymore. I apologize. And of course, as always, remember that anything can happen if you let it. Until next week, everyone, have a great week, everybody. Bye-bye. Goodbye now. Goodbye. Goodbye now. Goodbye. Uh, are are they are they gone? Are they gone? Oh, good. My cheeks are just killing me. I just can't stand this kind of